everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to our 4 for 4 series. I have to move a little bit of light here. I'm always moving something. Yeah, so, and you know, I got so much sparkle and shine here, I have to worry about the glare, but we're just going to play today because today we are going to do layout 1 in our 4 for 4 series, meaning that we are going to use a one photo to do a one-page layout, but you don't have to. You can absolutely do 2 pages. You know, be a 2-page gal, you just pick twice the number of papers, and then also too, you can use more than one photo. There are no rules when it comes to scrapbooking, nor this 4 for 4 series. Okay, so I will have videos listed below where we did layout 1 in our first round and also to our second round, which was fall themed, and so I will list those below. Now I have my sheet here to tell me what my papers were because you need that. And even though that this is the 3rd time I'm doing this and I even created the content for this, I still have to refer to my paper because we have so many things going on. You just can't remember. So let's get cracking on our first layout. And again, I'm using one photo, and I will show you in a minute what I'm going to be doing. But let's give some options as to placement of our papers. And so what we're going to do, and I'm looking at my notes here, so we're going to absolutely pick 5 pieces of paper, okay? And so this is what we're going to do. And I'm absolutely going to use this white cardstock as a filming purposes because it just shows up better. So for our papers, what we're going to do for our paper number 1, for me it was my red plaid, we are absolutely going to use a 6 by 12. Okay, that'll be your biggest piece of paper. And then your second option, your second piece of paper will be, and absolutely from your second pattern, will be your 2 by 5.5. And then on your number 3 pattern, okay, it's going to be the same as this, 2 by 5.5, and then your number 4 paper is going to be 2 of these 1 by 12, okay? And I will have that listed below so you don't have to remember, but again, it's going to be 5 pieces of paper for this first layout. Okay, so I'm going to put my notes to the side. Now, since this is a themed kit, and I wanted to say something, if you start working with some photos, because, you know, it's holiday, or if you're not working with holiday and you realize, oh, well, this plaid may not work with my photos, this may look better in layout number 3. There's nothing wrong with switching out some papers if you want to, but you have to make a note of it because it would get confusing. Okay, I don't really suggest that unless you're really been doing this a couple of times, because you'd be like, okay, number 1, well, that was number 3, my number 3 was number 4. So, but I wanted to say, please swap out if something's not working for you, because this isn't just about doing a layout, it's about recording the story. And so if you need to swap something out, please, by all means, do that, okay? And so with that, let's play with these 5 pieces of paper, and then we're going to talk about some other things, and then we're going to scrapbook today. Yes, okay. So for this this one photo layout, and what you simply can do is just play with these, okay? So this is the 6 by 12, and of course, this is what we would call a band design, because this 6 by 12 is right in the middle of this 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, and that's what we call a band. And then you could take your 1 by 12s and put this here, and put this here. I mean, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, yes. And there you go. That is how your page is. Very, very simple. And then you could use these as cluster bases or journaling bases or part of your title base. It's absolutely anything you want to do. Now with that, and again, I'll have videos listed below where you can see where we did different options and how it looks with different papers. Okay, just fun to watch. So you can absolutely take these, and then you could flush these up to the top as far or not as far as you want. And then you could absolutely, okay, that's what that would look like. Very, very pretty. I really like that. That's different, isn't it? I really like that. And then you could also too bring that same thing down and flush it down to the bottom. And this is pretty too. This is very pretty for a 2-page. Okay, so go with me for a minute. So this is all flushed down to the bottom, and this would be your left, and this would be your right. And you could put a title over here on your left, come over here, journaling over here on your right. Makes for a very fast 2-page layout. Okay, and these you can just simply play with. Okay, so again, that would be flushing it up to the top, flushing it down to the bottom, and then, you know, the second option I like to show is that we take these 3 elements, okay, and then what we're going to do is simply rotate our paper into the vertical side of things. Okay, I'm sorry, my hands are a little shaky today. I don't know what that's about. Probably too much caffeine. Yeah, probably. Okay. So whatever we just did, you can also then just turn everything and it's in the vertical. So you may want to use the orientation of your photo to say, do I want to do it in a vertical or do I want to do it in a horizontal? Okay. No wrong way. And then again, you shift everything to the left. And then you can shift everything to the right. Yeah. So just with those three, just these 3 pieces of paper right there is 6 options. I mean, quick. Again, these, you can do so many things with these, okay? Or the other option you have is to do nothing with them. Just because I pulled 5 pieces of paper for this layout doesn't mean you have to. So don't be afraid of that. Now, let's go back to the horizontal because, you know, I'm a horizontal gal. That's just the go-to design that I go to more often than anything else. And we talked about that in our go-to designs, and I'll have that playlist linked below. Is that what you can do then now, once you realize, okay, am I going to go horizontal? I'm going to go vertical. And then you can start playing. And what I mean by start playing is that you can start overlapping things. Okay? Very pretty. Okay? You can overlap things. You can start spacing things. And then you can start swapping things. And what do I mean by swapping? You can forego these 1 by 12 inch paper strips, and then you can start playing with border strips if you want. Okay, and I just pulled out some here. So what you can do, say this isn't just sparking your fancy, this layout, that's okay. Put them aside. Don't put them in with your other papers. Put these aside as leftovers, okay? That way you won't get confused later on when we do layout 2, 3, and 4. And then you can swap these out, okay? And then another option you can do is just start using those pieces as fillers. Okay, so you see how I had said about overlapping, then you can space, and then you could just absolutely swap them. So here I am absolutely creating a space, and then I'm using a washi tape that I put on cardstock, and I use that as a border sticker. Okay, and then I just put that right against my 6x12, and then I added a border sticker, border strip, whatever you want to call them. Very pretty. And then again, you play with these however you want. Okay, or like I said, and then you can also put one up here, one down here, whatever you want to do. I think they look together as a group. I think they're pretty. Now, I know for my page, I'm absolutely going to be doing a gingerbread house on this layout. And so I don't think the pine cones are really going to work. So, you know what I say? Put it to the side. You can play with it later. Yes. Okay. Because, you know, this pattern will be showing up again later. Okay. So we swapped out the border stickers. Okay, so don't forget that you can add things to it, you can take things away. That's what I wanted to say. And then also too, you can absolutely swap them out. Don't even use them. Again, very simple. Very pretty. Look at that. Very pretty. Very festive. Okay, so now along with the border stickers, you know we pulled out something else if you choose to do that in your kit, is that we pulled out, let me get some here that shows, is that, oh, here we go. Okay, I could absolutely swap out even just one of these border strips, leave one there, and I could put that there. Okay, my ribbons, okay, if you put them in your kit. Or I can also just use this strip here and then take my ribbon and add to it. Again, so many options, okay? Now, again, with the border strips, you can absolutely swap them out for border stickers, ribbon, and then what's the other option? Yes, washi tape. Lovely washi tape. So you can see how just by doing that simple swapping, I added different texture, I added different bling and zing, and then I can add different color. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here. Okay, now just pretend that that was on there straight. So again, creating another look, and that's with washi. Okay, and then the other option that I always show is how about doing a combination of all 3. Look at that. Very pretty. Yes, of course, you know, it's holiday, it's Christmas, what's not to be pretty? Okay, so now what we did was we focused in this Christmas round, if you wanted to, for the option of bling and zing. So this would be the time you would look at these supplies that actually give you that bling and zing. Okay, let's put it this way this time. Okay, let's put that washi this way. So don't be afraid to overlap and stack your washies. Don't be afraid to overlap and stack your border strips and your border stickers and your ribbon. I mean, you can keep on building. You can fill up this whole 12 by 12 format if you want to in the horizontal fashion. And then, I don't know if I could turn that. Yes, I can. You could do it in the vertical fashion, okay? So say if that 6 by 12 is not big enough for you, you could keep adding options to make it big enough to fit what landscape you want. Okay, so don't forget this bling and zing option we did, okay? Now let's talk about something else if you choose to do this. I'm going to put these all back. Okay, love that red, black and white polka dot buffalo plaid check. Yes, okay. Now let's go back to the bare bones of the supplies we picked, which were these 5 pieces, okay? And again, horizontal or vertical, up to you. 1 photo, 2 photo, up to you. No wrong way. And then you could absolutely take your 2 1 by 12s and you could stack both on the bottom, okay? Or you could stack both on the top, okay? And then you could even add some more things to that. So really what you did was you took those 1 by 12, and actually those paired up. You could actually take that 1 by 12 and then make it into a 2 by 12 just by simply putting them together. Okay? Again, you can come down here and play with these, or not play with these, or cattywampus them. Anything. There's just so many options. Okay? Now I did want to show one more thing, is that don't forget that some people put in 6 by 12 or 6 by 6 papers, so play with them. And if you have scraps, don't be afraid to play with those. And so how would you play with those? Maybe you want an additional piece here or additional piece up here, or you wanted to play with your punches. So don't forget that you can absolutely get out your punches and use your scraps, use your 6 by 6 papers, or you could absolutely take these 1 by 12 pieces and run them through your punch. Okay? So that's another option. Okay, I could run that through there, and that would give me a decorative edge if you don't have anything like this in your kit. Okay, that's how you do it. You take your edge punch, if you put one in there, and take these 1 by 12, and that would be good. That would give you a decorative edge. Or you can take these pieces and use your shape punch, if you put it in your kit, and use these pieces for embellishments and make your own. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to say is, don't forget, with our bling and zing and the border stickers and the trimmings, and then also to our washi, don't forget that we also had this type of product too. And so when you get to playing with your page, put them around you as inspiration, even if you don't use them. It's just holiday theme related. It gives you some inspiration. Okay, now with that, I wanted to show a couple things. Is that everything I showed, so many different options, right? But it's all fun. Yes, and let me put my original pieces here. Okay, because I'll show you probably what some of my plan is going to be. Okay, and then let's just say we move that down a little bit. Okay, now don't forget, this is the 5 pieces we're playing with, so keep all your other pieces away from what you're doing, that way they don't get mixed up. Okay, just keep them in a page protector. And then don't forget that we also put in our kit 2 pieces of paper for matting if you wanted to, or use your scraps or your 6 by 6 papers for layering or matting if you want to do that. And then we have our bonus sheet, so you can absolutely play with that as another option. You maybe want to play with this right off the bat and maybe give yourself a mat, you know, trim this down, your cardstock down, and use this as a mat right off the bat. You can absolutely do that. You can even gut some of that, that way you'd have it for another page. And so I don't know if I will be using that on my next page, so I will show you what I'm going to do. Okay, and there's our papers. Okay, so what I'm going to be playing with is that I pulled, okay, let me get my 5 pieces of paper here. I pulled one of my cardstocks, okay, and so I will be doing a gingerbread house photo, and I printed 2 because I didn't know which one I wanted, and that's the one I'm going to play with. And I will tell you right now, when you have a nice piece of background paper and a nice photo, sometimes that's all you need. I honestly could just put a title here and some journaling, one embellishment. I wouldn't need anything else, but you know how we play with paper. Okay, and so I will have this this plaid here. Okay, and so I will play with these. Now here's what I may do. If I do not care for these, I can swap them out for my border strip, you know, my border strips. And then also too, I mean, my goodness, isn't that pretty? I can swap anything out, and then I can choose not to use anything, or I can use all of it. Okay, and then with that, I wanted to say in your kit, don't be afraid to look at some of the alphas and embellishments that you picked for inspiration, meaning, of course, you know, I have these stickers that are holiday related, so I could use one of these as my title and also inspiration for my page. You know, warm and cozy and Christmas and ho ho ho, all of those things, okay? And then also too, don't forget our bling and zing, okay? Don't forget that. And then don't forget, if you had something that's actually Christmas or holiday themed, this would be the time to get it out and just play with it right off the bat. And so you know, I'm doing a gingerbread house, so I'm going to have to play with these candy cane thickers. I mean, why not? Yes, absolutely. And again, I have these peppermint candy enamel dots. Of course, they're going to have to make it on my page. So what I wanted to show with that is use the things that you pulled in your kit for inspiration for your page. And then don't be afraid if none of this is if some of these are not working for you, like for me. The Christmas trees are fine. This is fine. But the pine cones, I'm not really digging that for this page. So just keep it to the side, and then we're going to keep it in a leftover section later. Okay, because you can always use this for cards, or I can use it on the next page. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. I will come back with a finished page. So excited just to play and to scrap some Christmas-related activities during Christmas. Sometimes it's hard to do that. Sometimes it's into January before I start scrapbooking Christmas. And speaking of that, we have a Record December series going on now. So very, very quick project. If you want to record the month that you're living right now, please hop over. It can be done in an afternoon. So quick, so quick. I'll have that listed below. And then also too, if you need some inspiration for Christmas pages and embellishments and just good old fun, I want to recommend hop over to the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. Okay, they are just an absolutely wonderful group of gals that do wonderful work. And I'll have the link below. And then also to someone in particular, her name is Leanne Wagner. She has a blog called InkedInkScrap. Okay, very, very talented. And so if you just want some eye candy, you want some inspiration, especially for you mixed media gals, really look into Leanne's work. And I got to know her through the Counterfeit Kit Challenge, and so I will link both of those below. I mean, such inspiration just to sit and enjoy the work of someone else. And plus, they have a lot of Christmas layouts up right now. So please go check out the Counterfeit Kit and Leanne's blog. Just beautiful inspiration. That's what I'm going to be doing in just about a couple minutes. I'm going to put on a video. I'm going to sit here, maybe make a cup of hot cocoa, and just sit here and enjoy scrapbooking during the holidays. Okay, so come back and I will have my layout 1 in this 4for4 series done. Yes, absolutely. Okay, hold on. Okay, I am back with my finished page, and I thought what we would do is we would talk about my 5 pieces of paper that I picked out for layout 1 and where it landed and didn't land on my layout. So of course my piece number 1, which is my showcase piece, my 6x12 is right here in the middle, okay? And then of course my 2 1x12s, they landed right up here and right down here. And then what I did with those is because they were the gold and they had that stem, and they kind of went with my page but kind of didn't, but I didn't want to not use them, is that I gave them a decorative edge using my edge punch. So that worked out really well, and you'll probably see it in some of the close-ups, but I just ran them through my edge punch. And then of course my 2 pieces, that was my 2x5.5. Where did they land? They didn't. No. My plan was to use this one that was in the green Christmas trees, and I was going to make holly leaves out of them. And actually, I did do that. I cut those into holly leaves, and I was going to use them on my page, but it somehow just didn't tie in with what I wanted. Well, I don't know. It just didn't tickle me. So I will use them on the next page, but if I do use them, I will show you how I simply just hand cut those. It was really no big deal. But I now have 4 embellishments of holly leaves, and this I will just, what's that word? I will take over, take it to the next page, and then use those as leftovers. Okay, I'm not putting those in with my pre-cut papers. I'm just going to, transfer them over. Crossover. What is that word I'm looking for? Oh, it doesn't matter. Move on. Okay, so I simply took my photo and I matted it on a piece of white cardstock that was in my kit, and then I matted it again, gave it a double mat just to make this photo look bigger than it really is. And then I did some paper tearing down here, and I did a serious little thing with twine, and we're going to talk about that just a minute, because I'm going to show you how I do my twine as far as securing it to a page, because see, look, it's not moving, and I'll show you what I do for that. And then I added a doily. Of course, anytime you're talking about food in the kitchen and home, doilies is perfect. Added my title of hashtag candy, because that is basically what we build a gingerbread house of, is candy. And so, of course, this border sticker down here, when I took it off the transfer sheet, had these little holes. Okay, so whatever those little bits and bobs that was left in that border sticker, I always say keep those little bits and bobs, and I used them as a decorative element up here underneath my word candy, because you can see in this border sticker, I took my peppermint candies along with my enamel dots, and I just decorated my border strip with candy to go along with my theme of my title, and then also to my photo. And so then to get this circle element in, I put in some enamel dots up here, and then those little bits and bobs that was actually the insides of this border sticker. And it really isn't a lot of supplies. It just looks like a lot because of the use of color. So I have some visual triangles here. Okay. And so the visual triangles I have is, if you look at this striped red and white stripe, I have it in the title, I have it in the photo with the candy canes, and then I also, excuse me, I have it in my enamel dots down here. So that created a visual triangle, and then also to a visual triangle of my forest green. And so sometimes I'll say, if you need to create a visual triangle, and you can do that with your journaling, because in my journaling, I absolutely printed it in forest green to give me a little bit more of that visual triangle, because I just don't have a lot of anything with forest green. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes here. Now, if you'll notice with my layout in this series, in layout 1, notice one thing where everything is placed on my page. It is placed within this band. Okay, so you see there's nothing above this band and nothing above this strip. Everything is in that middle band, and I did that because I wanted to see this wood grain paper. It's a newer piece of paper for me, absolutely beautiful weight, and I wanted that paper to be part of my layout. I didn't want it just to be a background page, and so that's why I kept everything within that band, and we talked about that in our go-to design series, and I'll have that linked below. Okay, and of course with my doilies, and I think I have one laying here. Yes, if a doily looks a little wimpy for you, because I think they look a little wimpy on their own, because they are very, very thin, there's nothing wrong with using 2 or 3. I think there's 3 or 4 here. And so then what I do is sometimes I will glue them together, or I'll just make sure the bottom one's glued. But you can absolutely layer these to get that stronger image of that white and that doily, okay? Because it just gives you more texture, okay? And don't be afraid to rough up, or not rough up, but to bend up some of the edges on your doily. Again, it just makes it feel like a doily, okay? Because no doilies lay perfect, okay? And so I think that was it, other than... Okay, one more thing, and then we're going to have a little mini twine tutorial. So if you're not interested, you can just and not even watch that. But I wanted to show you that on this layout, sometimes we get caught up on the colors of our supplies and paper. So if you see the red in this plaid paper is one, the red in this border sticker is another shade of red, the red in my thicker candy cane is another type of red, and then in my border sticker, another shade of red, and then my candy cane enamel peppermint little circles here, my dots, that's another red. So I have 5 different shades of red, and so it's one of those things that if you try to find everything matchy, you'll never get a page done, because things just don't match. And so over the years, I just focus on what my story is. Some of these other things about tones being the exact color, you just have to let it go out the window, because you can't. When you're dealing with different supplies and different manufacturers, it just doesn't happen. So I wanted to point out that I have 5 different shades of red on this page, but you really don't look at it because you're focused on the story, and that's how I take it anyway. So, okay, so I want to add a little bit of glue here on my doilies, because otherwise I'll forget. But I wanted to show that you can absolutely, and how many do I have here? I have 3. So you can absolutely layer those, and I just put a little dot. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting a little dot on the ends, and that will keep them together, okay? And of course, I already added my journaling. Yes, look at me. Way to go. Hallelujah. Yes, yes, I have my journaling on there. And of course, it's just all about how we have built gingerbread houses through the years. And every year, we add more and more candy, and we add a variety of candy. And it's now gotten to the point, because I'm not a hard candy type of person. I am all chocolate every day, all chocolate. So I will save leftover hard candy in bags, and then that's what I pull out for our gingerbread houses. So I wanted to put that in there. Okay, so now I have one little funny story, and then we'll get into this twine tutorial if you want to watch that, okay? Because I've gotten a couple questions. Okay, so of course, you know, when you have things laying about and people come into your room and, you know, my husband every once in a while will come in and say, oh, what's that for? You know, what's that for? What's that for? So the other day, of course, you know, my daughter's home. She makes me laugh all the time. So she came in looking at the page I was working on, and she picks this up and she says, I will not be ignored, Dan. And I laughed so hard because, of course, you know that's from a movie. But she just simply wasn't even talking about anything, just picked him up and said that. And she said, yes, I want you to say that in your video and ask your subscribers if they can name that movie quote. And so she said, I will not be ignored, Dan. When she picked up these Martha Stewart scissors. So, of course, she has a name for this apparatus too, but I'm not going to go there. So, anyways, I thought that was funny. I thought I would share. So, if you know what quote, what movie that came from, I will not be ignored, Dan. Please list below. She'll get a kick out of that. Okay, so now let's talk about twine. Okay. So you see on my layout that I have this twine wrapped around my double mat, and then I have a loop, the loop, the loop, loop, loop. Okay, and so I like to do that for movement on the page because sometimes I want a color or a supply, but I don't want to keep adding clusters, and so sometimes a twine tail will do the trick. And so my original plan was to use this twine here because it's a luscious white with gold. Well, yeah, talk about a dud. Look at this. And I'll just move this for a minute. Look at this twine here. Now, how in holy Hannah are you supposed to use this? Because no matter where you cut it, okay, so if I cut it here, you see what happens. This tinsel is coming away from the twine because all that is simply wrapped around. So no matter where you cut it, you're going to run into that same problem. And I thought, what a waste of money. I will never buy twine again that is wrapped in this tinsel twist. Never. What a waste of money. I mean, because see, no matter where you cut it, you're going to have that twine, see, or that tinsel. That tinsel is going to come away from the twine. So, yeah, that was a dud. I was not planning on that being a dud, but it's a dud. I have learned my lesson on that. So, there you go. There's your PSA for today. Okay, so now let's talk about this twine and how do I do that and how I secure it. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm going to use this twine because this twine is going in the trash. That is no good. And I mean, it wouldn't even be good for a tag because it's going to look absolutely, just absolutely ugly. I mean, honestly, yeah. I don't know whose bright idea that was, but that didn't work. Okay, so I'm going to say this is a photo or a mat or both, and I want to do a twine bundle. So there's two different ways you can do this. You can absolutely take your tail, and this would be my back, and you could take some washi tape. Oh, I have some right here. Well, I'm not going to waste that buffalo check, no. I'll get something I don't care for. Okay, and you can simply take your washi and you know, secure your twine in the back. Not hard, no big deal. And then you just simply twist around, twist around, twist around, twist around, twist it around to get the thickness and the amount that you want. And then you can simply cut it off and secure it in the back again. Now this is the hack version if maybe you have trouble doing loops, okay? And so we will secure that. Okay, and I'm just doing this very fast. Okay, and so then that would be your wrap. And then what you would do, and watch me get in this in a knot. Okay. Then what you would do is then, this is all secured, so you don't have to worry about do you have enough tail here or do you have enough tail here. You then will cut a separate piece. And then you will tie this around wherever you want it to be. Say I'm going to go over here. And then that's where you would tie it to be. And then now you don't have, now your tails are as long as you want them, okay? Because sometimes pre-measuring how much of a tail you want in the beginning and the end, a little hard for some people. So that is the hack version, is that you secure the beginning and the end, and then you take a separate piece tied in a bow, that type of thing, okay? Or what you can do, now that's the hack version. Then the other way you can do it, okay, let me remove all of this. The other way you can do it, which is how I do it, because, you know, I don't want to do that second step. So what I do is when I'm doing this, I will leave a long tail. And that's a long tail for me, okay? And then I will put my finger here to know that I'm not going to use this I'm not going to use this piece right here. That's all extra. That's for my tail. And then I just pinch it there and I wrap it and I wrap it and I wrap it and I wrap it. Okay. And then when I'm done, I know that I'm going to end up about right here. Okay. And so I think that's where I'm going to end. Just do a couple more. Okay. Depends on how thick or how not thick you want that. I like my twine to stand out. Okay. And so then I will make sure that when I'm cutting, now see, I'm still holding this tail here. Okay, and then I just cut into a longer tail. Okay, and so then, say I'll come over here, and then this is where, let's do it this way. And then I will cut, you know, just tie my tails. Simple, simple. Okay. Okay, so now, well, I'm going to have to tie it over here because I'm not going to have long enough tail. Okay. I'm still not going to have long enough tail, but I'll show it. Okay, so I would tie this. And then let's show, I'm going to show, I'm probably all over the place, sorry. I'm trying to be quiet because my daughter has to work remotely while she's home. But, you know, me being quiet, yeah. That's like telling Mary I had a little land to go buy a camel. It doesn't work, no. Okay, so I have my tails here. And so I did my loop and I did my tails. How do I secure this? Okay, because if you see on my layout, I secured all of this. And so I have said this a couple of times, but I'm going to show this, is that I use this mono liquid. And how I adhere this is, okay, now let me just put this, adhere this down. Because just pretend this is my photo and my mat on my layout, okay? And like I said, if this is something you're not interested in, that's okay. Just be done with the video. Come back for layout 2 in a few days, okay? And so I'm going to do my bow here. But I got a couple questions as how I secure this twine, because I have noticed when I used to first do this and then I would put in a page protector, I didn't like it the way it looked. No, I hope I'm in frame. Okay, and so then of course to get these tight, you just play with them. Okay, play with them some more. Okay, and you know how to do a loop. Okay, so then what you can do is just take your tails and put them whichever way you want, okay? Let's just have the loop coming down this way, okay? Let's tie this up. Okay, and so then simply you just put it in the way you want it, whatever movement you want. I mean, isn't that great that you can take that and manipulate it any way you want? And then you simply would take some of this mono, okay? Now, if you have anything else that dries clear, it would work. That's just what I have. And then I would simply lift up a small piece at a time, and that's all you do. Just pick up a small piece at a time, put a little bit down, and then once that dries, and so I'll try to show that a little bit better without my hands. Again, picking up a little piece at a time, putting a little dot, and then putting it right over that, okay? And then I would let that section dry a little bit, okay? Or maybe come over here and work on the loop, okay? Again, I'll work on this side of the loop. And again, I'm doing this in a fast manner. This isn't something you rush. No, it's a work of art. We don't rush that, no, okay? So you can see already, see how it's not moving, okay? And then once that dries, you can come back and then you would pick up another little piece. Or you could actually do the very tail. So just do it in sections and let it dry just a few minutes in between each time, okay? And then just secure it as much or as little as you want. You can even put a little drop of this mono behind that knot, and that'll keep that from moving too. And you could even put some of your liquid glue underneath your twine strips, your bundle, if you didn't want it to move, okay? So here's my layout. See what I'm saying? It doesn't move, okay? And then by the next day or the next morning, this dries really solid because I love this mono. It dries rock hard. And I only do that because when I put in a page protector, then my bow and my however I wanted that movement, because sometimes I'll use just twine tail to help create a visual triangle. Okay, that's how I do it. I use this mono and then every, you know, just in small spots. See, and you can see that moving right there. Okay, so once that other part was dry, I just pick this up very easily and very softly, and then just put a dab. You don't need a lot, just a dab, and just spots throughout. And then when it dries, And this is what it dries like. Yes, and it's not going to move. Okay, and I didn't put anything under this band because I do like some of that, and it's not going to come loose. But all this other stuff, yep, that's all adhered. Okay, so that is that little twine tutorial. I hope that, again, was not too much rambling. So that is what I have for today. That is our layout 1 in our 4for4 series. So if you had some pieces that were left over, just keep them in a separate pile on your desk, or don't put them with your other cut pieces because you'll get confused, okay? So just keep them, and we will transfer them to the next layout, which is layout 2, in which we're going to be doing 2 photos. So come back in a couple of days, and that's what we're going to work on, is layout number 2. Okay, and 2 photos. And what am I going to do? I think I'm going to do a snow photo. That's what I think. 2 snow photos. So that's all I have for today. Come back to RTS because you never know.